Good morning, everyone. My name is Garrett Euclito, Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Frankly, we shouldn't really be here today. Andrew Dominico was a transportation maintainer. He was picking up litter in the community of Wallingford on Friday when he was tragically killed by a reckless and selfish driver who blew through an active work zone. The Dominico family should not have to bury their 26-year-old son. I can't imagine the nightmare this has been for the family, and I am so sorry that we are here today holding this press conference. Thank you, all of you in this family, for the strength and courage you have shown since Friday. Andrew was a valuable member of our District 3 team here in the Wallingford garage. Our garages, for those of you who don't know, they're like families. They work together, they eat together, they spend days and nights together working during storms. Andrew's colleagues told me on Friday that they'll always remember him for his great sense of humor, his constant smile, and his unmatched work ethic. He always answered the call when the phone rang when we needed him, and he even volunteered for community events like Touch-a-Truck events in their community. All of us at ConnDOT are shocked, saddened, and we're outraged by this horrible loss. Every day, every week, every year, we all preach safety. We ask drivers to drive sober, we beg them to slow down, we plead with them to put down their devices, and we ask anyone who will listen to ensure that their friends are doing the same. And this worst case scenario we're trying to prevent. In the transportation community, we talk about Vision Zero and our quest to get to zero fatalities on our roadways. What's becoming abundantly clear to me is that this is far beyond a transportation problem. When a worker is killed by an impaired driver at 9 o'clock in the morning while picking up litter tossed out car windows, we have a much deeper crisis on our hands. Roadway safety needs to be a shared responsibility. We need drivers to do their part to keep themselves and everyone else on the roadway safe. We're in the midst of construction and maintenance season with hundreds of projects across Connecticut underway. We have more than 1,500 employees on our roadways every single day in Connecticut. Employees like Andrew who are risking their lives to improve the roadways and protect their communities. We have to do everything we can to keep those workers safe, alive, and able to return to their garages with their colleagues at their end of the shift. So far this year, more than 165 people have been killed on Connecticut's roadways, nearly as many as this time in 2022. 2022 was one of our worst and deadliest years in decades. So this crisis needs everyone's attention. We all have a shared safety responsibility. It's imperative we keep safety at the forefront every time we get behind the wheel, especially during this upcoming holiday weekend and during the construction and maintenance season. So I urge the public, please never drive under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Our ConnDOT team and our first responders deserve to go home to their families every night. I extend my deepest sympathies to Andrew's family and his friends and the entire ConnDOT family who worked with him. I'm ready to do whatever I can do to make sure Friday's crash never happens again. But we need to make sure in the coming days we're focused on remembering Andrew for who he was. Of his loved ones in your thoughts. On behalf of the Dominico family.
Good morning. On behalf of the Dominico family, we would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to Governor Lamont for inviting us today and for the outreach of support and love we have received from our local and state communities. The magnitude of this horrific but preventable tragedy has reached the hearts and emotions of many, and our family is so grateful for the unwavering support. My nephew Andrew was a wonderful young man a loving and devoted son, brother, grandson, nephew, cousin, and friend to so many. He was an avid golfer and enjoyed playing often with various friends at his favorite courses, particularly Hunter's Memorial Golf Course in Meriden, where he worked for several years maintaining the grounds during his youth. Andrew was a diehard sports fan, loving his New York Yankees, Boston Celtics, and New England Patriots, where he and his dad just enjoyed attending Tom Brady's retirement celebration together at his beloved Gillette Stadium. Andrew had a profound impact on so many, and we are learning this week just how much and how far he reached so many. It is a fact that 1 in 5 drivers are caught speeding through Connecticut work zones. We are pleased to learn that the pilot program for the work zone speed safety cameras is now going to be permanent in the coming years. It is definitely a positive step in the right direction to improve the state safety measures for our DOT, construction, and state police employees. We hope additional legislation is passed to increase and mandate substantial penalties for those that break the law and certainly repeat offenders. Our hope is for something positive to come out of this tragedy, so that no other family has to endure the pain and suffering that our family is feeling this week and forever. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to share our Andrew with everyone, and we will continue to honor him and fighting for him so that his death will never be in vain. Thank you so much.
Melissa, could you spell your name for me?
Yes, certainly. It's Melissa Lombardi, Lombardi. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to ask to come up Captain Ben Borelli. I will say on behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation, the Connecticut State Police have been just amazing to all of us at ConDOT. They treated Andrew like one of their own, and they treated our colleagues like brothers and sisters that day. And I'll never be able to thank them enough for the grace they showed us on Friday. So, Captain Borelli.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good morning, everyone. I'm Captain Benjamin Borelli of the Connecticut State Police. On behalf of Commissioner Higgins and Colonel Lockman, we thank you all for being here today. As state troopers, one of our priorities is keeping the roadways throughout Connecticut safe. The move over law enacted in Connecticut and across the U.S. is not just a legal obligation, but a critical safety measure for everyone on the road. The law requires drivers to move over and slow down for first responders, road crews, tow truck operators, and disabled motorists. The law was designed to ensure the safety of those who work tirelessly as speeding traffic goes by every single day. The state police fully endorses the law, which is not just about compliance, it's about compassion and responsibility. We have now been reminded 3 times in the past 5 weeks, just over a month, of what can happen when drivers do not adhere to the move over law. 3 lives have been lost, each one a tragic loss for the families, friends, and the state of Connecticut. These deaths are a sober reminder of the hazards of those that work on the roads each and every day. First responders, DOT workers, tow truck operators risk their lives when they respond to crashes or disable motor vehicles, or simply working to improve the roadways for the Connecticut citizens. So we ask the public, please slow down and move over. The commitment of drivers to follow the move over law brings roadway safety to all on the road. Be aware of your surroundings when traveling through our state and do not drive distracted. We ask you to be our partners in public safety, to prevent accidents and to save lives. Slow down for any vehicle that is stopped in the shoulder and move over a lane if you can. As we approach the 4th of July week and weekend, We ask that if you're impaired on alcohol and or drugs, that you have a designated driver, use rideshare, or use DOT's public transportation system. Have a plan in place, be safe, don't drive distracted, and don't drive impaired. At this time, I'd like to introduce the president of CEUI, Carl Chisum.
Thank you, Captain, Commissioner. My name is Carl Chisum, president of CEUI. We represent DOT members across the state. So our entire union is deeply saddened at the tragedy of our union brother, Andrew D. Dominico. Last week I spoke with Andrew's mother, who was so proud of her son that he just started 2 years at DOT, 2 years ago. His life was abruptly cut short due to the reckless drunk driving at 9:15 a.m. on Friday morning. Now we brace ourselves for the 4th of July, and people will drive drunk. They will speed, they will drive distracted. Connecticut drivers need to understand the real-life consequences of their actions. We need to end drunk driving, reckless speeding, and distracted driving. We need Connecticut drivers everywhere to slow down, move over, and call 911 when you see reckless drivers. Commissioner Eucalito and I am committed to making our roads safer for everyone to work and travel on. In the last 6 weeks, we have lost 3 hardworking people on our highways due to reckless driving. Our DOT union members face constant dangers on our roads, bridges, and highways, and no one should sacrifice their life for their job. Our top priority as a union has always been safety first, but we need every single Connecticut driver to make our safety their priority last. Slow down, move over, and if you see a dangerous driver, call 911. Our brothers and sisters in Connecticut Employees Union Independent across all agencies are struggling to come to terms with the loss of our union brother, Andrew. We will work together to spread the message with the governor and commissioner that Connecticut needs to slow down and move over. We need our lawmakers and community leaders to implement stricter penalties for reckless driving and to invest in better infrastructure and safety measures. Our goal is to ensure that no other family has to endure the pain and sorrow that Andrew's loved ones are currently facing. Let us honor Andrew's legacy by committing ourselves to safer roads across Connecticut. Let us never have to add another name to the Workers' Memorial. Let's get home safe. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call up Governor Ned Lamont. Governor?
Thank you, Garrett. You can tell that Andrew's family, that he has a big family here, and we all feel like we lost one of our own. And the way you've described your son is, a great young man who was just doing his job. And there are too many of these accidents, and they're avoidable. And I just want you to think about the impact of what dangerous driving means. Look at what it means to this family. Aaron Pelletier just a few weeks ago doing a traffic stop. Andrew was right for here. This is where that accident took place. This is where he's helping out on the side of the road. He used to help out right here at this rest stop, I'm told as well. And as Garrett pointed out, we have 70 maintenance sites and 170 construction sites and thousands of people working along the side of the road right now, doing everything we can to make sure we have the best transportation system in the world. And we're doing everything we can as a state government. We're doing this in terms of more police stops. You hear that from Commissioner Higgins, more police in the beat. We're doing this in terms of wrong way flashers to keep those wrong way driving accidents behind us. We're doing this in terms of the speed cameras along construction sites. You know, we'll see how fast you're going into that site. We know what you're doing on the way out. We take a picture of your license plate, and you will be held accountable. But I got to tell you something. On this, probably the busiest driving day of the weekend of the year, everything we're doing to keep you safe, the other 90% is up to you. You know, I need folks to look out for each other. I need you to say to somebody who's driving a car that shouldn't be driving a car, pull over. I need you to say, we're doing everything we can as a state to take the lead on this, but the rest really is up to you. And that's why we're here on this beautiful day, on the eve of the July 4th weekend, in a moment of tragedy. Andrew is no longer with us. See what it means to his family, sees what it means to his greater family here. Don't let it happen. Do what you can do. Thanks, everybody.
Do some questions.
Hey, Commissioner, so Connecticut drivers suck. Everybody's doing 85 out here. Everybody's doing 80 on the Parkway. Why is it happening? Is there somebody here who can tell us?
Issue. I talked to my other state DOT commissioners across the country. It's a national problem. Ever since 2020, something changed in drivers. They started speeding much faster on our roadways in 2020, and it has not really gone down. The social compact that drivers used to have behind the wheel, granted not everyone had it, but a lot of people did, it seems to be been thrown out the window. They're driving faster, they're driving more aggressively, they're driving more erratically, they're driving more distracted, they're driving more impaired. And nobody knows why. It probably has something to do with the stress that people have had in 2020, the stress they're going through. It is something nationally that is a major, everyone involved in transportation.
What are you going to be proposing? What would you like, next year we're going to be in a legislative session. What is the DOT going to recommend, Governor? What are you planning to do? I imagine you're starting to put together what you're doing.
So I'll start, I want to first see what is in the actual crash accident report and be able to see what actually occurred in detail. For the past couple of years, last year we proposed increased penalties for texting while driving on highways for limited access highways like I-95, I-91, I-84, because right now it's just a simple texting while driving on drunk and impaired driving. Work zone speed camera program that we will aim to have up and running next spring. But I really do want to see what's in the report so we can see what the actual cause was, and then
But as far as the speed camera, that's going to be the same. You're going to outfit especially equipped vehicles to set them up at on a roving basis.
Yeah, and we'll be able to do more locations. It's 10 mile per hour threshold. We're going to be able to do up to 15 locations at one time across the state, including our maintenance work zones on secondary roads where they are at risk doing mowing operations, not on a highway, but still just as at risk. So.
Garen, where are we in terms of the wrong way detection system? How far along are we installing?
So we have around 60 locations right now. Our plan right now, it's looking like we'll have 140 installed by the end of this calendar year. Yes, I do. I can get that to you after this. It's in my packet here. I apologize.
Commissioner, you mentioned aggressive driving, distracted driving. Commissioner Higgins mentioned the other day people digitally distracted, obviously on the phone too much. But in many of these cases, the person who ends up killing these innocent people are impaired. Either they're drunk, high, or both. Is there a drinking and driving or a high and driving problem with that?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I testified to that 2 years. Kind of got plastered everywhere, saying that. But it's true. We are one of the worst states in the nation for impaired driving. We are constantly in the top 5, often in the top 3 in percentage of our fatalities caused by impaired driving.
Why is that, David? Because obviously the wrong way cameras, the speed cameras, different work zone things. At the end of the day, is there a bigger problem here where there's too many people that are drinking and getting high and then getting behind the wheel?
Yes, and I don't know what is driving it. It's a public health issue. It's a mental health issue. We need to address it that way. We also need to look at how are people being served? Where are they being served before they get behind the wheel? That's the type of discussions that we're going to have with law enforcement, with public health, and with motor vehicles. And we've started talking to consumer protection as well. I don't know about, do you know anything about repeat offender issues, how that's addressed legislatively?
Yeah, a repeat offender isn't typically in our arena. Our job is to keep the roadway safe and to get those who are driving under the influence. The judicial district is working on repeat offenders. They have stricter penalties, and that's really up to them and their powers what they can do with that from there.
Question for state police. Are you able, with the staffing you have, to do more DUI enforcement?
Yes and no. With the staffing that we have, we'll always get the job done. Right now, for this week in preparing, we're going to have roving DUI shifts, and that's the program put on through the DOT and the grants that they give us. So we'll have extra people out there specifically targeting hotspot areas where bad crashes are happening and to get people who are driving under the influence off the roads. However, we're never going to say no to manpower. We need more personnel. We want more people on our team, and the commissioner and the colonel are pushing for that, and we're moving in the right direction.
And how do you figure out where the best place to deploy your manpower is?
So that's another partnership with the DOT. What we use is statistical data from our accident reports and injuries and fatalities, and that will give us areas where they're happening more frequently. It's no surprise that the high amount of crime is happening in small areas by the same people over and over. So serious injury crashes and impaired driving.
How many troopers on the road this weekend?
I can't tell you that. It varies based on trip, sir.
Question for the governor. A lot of the things that are being done are to prevent people from being drunk, being high, being on drugs, and then getting behind the wheel before it gets to the point where we need the wrong way cameras, the speed cameras, and anything else that's preventing it once they're already impaired?
Yeah, we need you to do that. We need you to say, get away from that wheel. You are dangerous to be at that wheel. You're driving like a bat out of hell. I'm happy to arrive fast or be late. Slow down. Stop texting while you're doing this. Look, we're doing everything we can on addiction. We're trying to do everything we can to get those repeat offenders off the street. We're trying to do more in terms of speed cameras. But to your bigger point, how do I make sure that person who shouldn't be driving isn't driving? A friend does not let a friend drive drunk.
But is it possible that people who are drinking and driving and then getting high and driving, they clearly don't have respect for other people? And if you're a repeat offender, people in their circles probably also don't have the same respect that we're talking about. So how can we get them to, I guess, have respect for everyone around them when clearly they're past criminals, they are repeat offenders, they don't have respect for us?
Again, I think most people ought to be able to step up and say this is the wrong thing to do. We're doing everything we can to hold people account. We're doing everything we can to enforce it more speed cameras. I like the idea of more speed cameras, Paul. You know, we did a test just a couple years ago. Now we're rolling out 15 sites. Let's see how that goes. I think we should extend this. I think it's a deterrent. I think people know you're driving too fast, you're going to be caught, and you're going to be held accountable.
Governor, should Connecticut lower the blood alcohol level to 0.05?
It's something we've thought about. We're having a hard time enforcing the rules we got right now, though, John. There's, as Garrett said, there's an epidemic out there of people driving who should not be driving, a whole variety of things. And I just want people to know you're going to be held accountable, and it's even best if your friends hold you accountable.
Governor, what?
Can we ask Andrew's aunt, if you don't mind?
Please.
What do you think should be done? I mean, we hear from a lot of officials, but this impacts you personally. What do you think they should do with this?
Yeah, it definitely impacts us, and I agree. I think that there's an epidemic in our state. Um, Marijuana is legal. I can go right next door and buy whatever I want, and it's no secret that people are leaving the shop, lighting up, and taking off, and we all see it. People are driving crazy on the way here today. I was nearly, hit a couple of times, and it just is the lack of empathy for situations such as this. It's the lack of respect for, your fellow citizens, and people are selfish and they're just taking their own wants and needs and not thinking of those that are affected by this until it hits their family. And I would absolutely love the opportunity to continue to advocate on behalf of my nephew and, fight for legislation that changes. I don't think that the laws of that are going to change, but they can certainly impose stricter penalties for those offenders and absolutely repeat offenders. No more slaps on the wrist. People need to be held accountable for their poor actions.
Do you think the blood alcohol level should be dropped to 0.05?
I've never really given it thought because, as the governor said, there is an epidemic and they can't even control the level one from drinking. The issue at hand are those people that get behind the wheel after choosing their lifestyle and affecting the families and certainly ours.
Maybe tougher penalties for borrowers?
I think bars should be accountable, absolutely. Certainly on the limitations on who they serve and how much, but as we all know, it's not solely on the bars. People go out and they pregame before they go out. It's really unfair to just discriminate against the bars and make it their sole responsibility when people need to take individual accountability for their actions. And if you're impaired and if you can't get behind the wheel, ask a friend. It's that simple. Just give your keys. Just get a ride. Uber. Do what you need to do so that my brother and his wife and our extended family, our lives are changed forever. And, it's unfair, and people just need to be accountable for their actions. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Johnny.